Wow, that was quick. Normally it takes a few seconds to go live, but apparently tonight we're good.
Live,
so
damn it.
we will go live and we will like it. Alright. Who would like to recap what happened last time?
Well, I guess.
Sorry. I forgot to mute my phone.
Yeah, that'd be useful. I guess I will take me and Gemma-Beth.
Okay, go for it.
We continued down the lower path from the crime scene to see if we could pick up any trails. Managed to pick up 2 of them, but upon following one, were followed by a dude, and apparently by a few dudes. So we tried to elude him, succeeded for about a minute, and tried to pick up the other path. When it was clear that that guy and his friends were clearly still on our trail, we looked for a place where we could confront them relatively safely, and that's where we stopped.
Okay, and then the other group?
We got into a fight with a bunch of guys because we were going to take Winsome to Sharn University. Unfortunately, those guys came and, well, we just decided to whip their asses. And then
we did whip the ass.
That was about all we did. And then after we cleaned up the streets with them, decided to get there so we could have Winsome find the correct research for the mind bomb device that we found, so we can figure it out and figure out how to either power it or just figure out how it works, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
And Juan D had a nap.
Yeah, he took a nap.
He went to take a nap.
He did. He totally went up to take a nap. He's like, well, nothing's happening to me. I'm just going to go to my home and go to bed.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so we're going to start with the Lucan and Gemma-Beth tonight.
Sure.
So, when we last left off, you were confronted by about a dozen people.
Wow.
Ooh, whoa, what was that?
That was me.
Yes.
Hello.
I got it. I plugged it into another port. Apparently that worked. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear
Yes.
Oh.
There's a fair amount of noise in the background, though.
you. Yeah,
Don't care.
it is.
Okay.
We can hear you though. There is truth to that.
You've got me. That's about all you're getting right now.
Hey, whatever you did, it sounds a lot better. If you could turn down your input volume just a hair, then you'd be perfect. But your background is fine.
Trying to do that and it's not working.
Oh,
So
wait.
give me a second.
Oh, there you wait. No, right there. Stop.
that was-
Don't do anything else.
I didn't do anything.
Oh,
Well, then don't do anything.
yeah. Then you're fine.
Yeah, the background noise has pretty much gone away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my ears are no longer bleeding, so that's always a plus.
Yay.
Okay, so you guys were confronted with about a dozen people. At least one of them seems to know exactly who you are,
Which is
or
more
at
than
least
we know.
at least you knows who you work for.
Yeah. So, for clarity, we have not drawn weapons. I don't think Gemma even really used
I don't remember
weapons.
drawing weapons, no.
No.
I think we were still trying to talk our way out of it and they were being,
Yeah, we
They
were
were
trying to
being a
figure
little
out
obnoxious.
why they were following us and what their business is with us to begin with. So, let's go with that. I'm afraid you have us at a disadvantage knowing who we are and what we seem to be doing. I'm not sure I even know exactly what we're doing right now. And I especially don't know why you're interested. Who are you?
I'm afraid I've read the handbook. I know better than to give you any more information than absolutely necessary.
Uh-huh.
A disadvantage is exactly where we would like you. The thing is that you're meddling in affairs that really we would prefer you not be. So I'm afraid we're going to have to do something about that.
Oh, I'd be glad to leave them alone if you'd tell me what's going on so I can be sure to avoid it.
Please, do I look stupid?
Yes.
I would only think would have made that better if it had been like, why, thank you.
I can't see this going any better, so... Anyway, I suppose you'll just have to die. I'm sorry. The man...
Steel
the man...
drawn.
I'm hearing somebody in the background.
Oh.
The man turns to
Here.
look to the person next to him and says, "Kill them. Dispose of their bodies someplace rather public, just to be on the safe side. Report back to me when you're done."
Right. Okay, blades are drawn.
All right. It's at about this time when you notice a couple of small vials impact at the feet of some of the people surrounding you, and after a moment of realization, you see smoke, an inky black smoke, start to boil out of these vials and start to engulf the area. It doesn't take very long
Here we
for
come to save the day.
something like that. From the darkness, you hear a familiar voice, that of Pearl, telling you to just make a break for it.
We take a break for it.
All right, both of you give me
I suppose.
if you're both going to run for it, well, give me a background check to see if you can avoid the people around you. See if you can avoid taking any cheap shots as you run.
All right.
Background plus.
Recovery agent or vampiric nature?
Vampiric nature is probably better.
We didn't do
Dexterity?
our icon rolls, by the
Oh,
way.
that's true. Yeah. Make the background checks first, and then do the icon rolls.
Well, what if I want to
Dexterity,
use
though?
one of my icons?
Then you'll do that afterward.
All right, you want Dex or Strength?
Dex or strength, whichever you'd like.
Okay.
They're
It
the
just
same
depends on if you're
anyways.
avoiding them or if you're bowling them over.
Avoiding. 22.
22. All right.
I don't remember if I'm doing this right, so is that correct? Constitution plus level best background. There we go, 19.
I thought you were going to do strength or dex.
I decided to do Dex.
You roll fine.
So you rolled Constitution.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, it's the same. It's the same modifier.
Alright.
Don't know why
All
I
right.
did that, but okay.
All right. So yeah, everybody go and do your icon rolls now if you haven't already.
Yay, getting those ones out of the way.
I'm sure
Remember
there's
how.
plenty more waiting for you.
Just gotta remember how. Hold on just a second. Icon relationships. There we go. Oh, cool. And that's it.
Okay, so you guys both kind of dodge and weave as your attackers are coughing and just kind of striking out blindly around them. This smoke goes for a fair ways. It's not just limited to the near area. It kind of trickles into the nearby alleys and streets, at least to some extent. As you guys run away, you hear the man that you were talking about telling them, as he's coughing, to get back on your trail, find them, and end them.
Do we have a description of the man?
Yeah. He is a human, looks to be in his late 20s, early 30s. not terribly well dressed, but not as poorly dressed as you might expect people to be dressed as down here in this district. Aside from that, he's fairly nondescript. He's got um, tanned skin, light skin, Caucasian basically, black hair cut relatively short. Nothing about him stands out a lot.
We can remember him if we see him again later.
Yeah. As you guys leave the smoke, you see Pearl gesturing to you from a nearby alley.
We'll follow Pearl. I don't know who Pearl is, so I'm assuming Gemma follows Pearl.
Follow her.
Yeah, it's true. You never did meet Pearl, did you?
Nope.
Oh, she's a deer. Not like a real deer. Like,
Oh no,
No, that would be
that's
Gemma.
Gemma's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Pearl leads you into this alley and through a door that looks like it's half covered in boxes and garbage and other detritus, and she pulls you into a small room and closes the door behind her and pulls down a bar to block it, and she motions for both of you to be quiet, and then she listens at the door. Several minutes pass, and finally she sighs with relief and gestures to the two of you and says, "I just can't leave you alone, Gemma.
Apparently
Always getting into trouble without me."
Apparently not. Wow, thank you so much for being again at the right place at the right time. To what do we owe this honor?
Well, I was running late to the meeting that Irvalen summoned us for. She said that there were people watching the apartment tower, and she had a bad feeling about the two of you running off alone. She was fairly confident that Wraith and Cord were probably going to be all right, but the two of you, it seemed like from the way the Watchers were set up that you were walking into something immediately, so she sent me to watch your back, and a good thing that she did as well.
By the way, where's our king's swords that we took with us?
They are back at the ladder leading down. This is a little bit of retcon that I have to do because I forgot that you guys had even taken them.
Yeah.
They're at the ladder watching that to make sure that nobody goes up into that area and to cover your line of retreat should you be coming back that way.
We took them with us, so we wouldn't need that. But anyway.
That was my bad. I forgot that you were taking those two with you. So.
Okay.
But Pearl says, the word from Irvalen is that at least one of the Watchers was from House Madani. And when he noticed that he'd been seen, he took off, along with some of the other people that were observing the incidents in the apartment tower. So we're not sure if I'm not sure if these folks you just encountered here are from Madani or if they're unrelated, but it seems that Madani has some sort of stake in this as well.
Well, good to know.
Irvalen was not very happy to hear that. She muttered something about always more complications.
Yes, it's never good when the houses are involved.
No, and I understand that Kenneth might be involved too, but I don't know much about that. Irvalen just mentioned it briefly. So where's everybody else?
They are all pursuing different pathways.
Well, I hope they don't need my help as much as you've needed my help right now.
I agree. I hope so as well. I'm wondering if we should check on them and see if they too needed help or are in need of help.
Do you know where they were heading?
Not a clue.
That makes it somewhat more difficult.
I thought we talked about some of them were
Yeah,
headed
okay,
on to
we
the
knew they were going
library.
down to visit a guy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I remember
that's all you
Stars.
know. Because the two of you and Pearl are not familiar with Winston. At least not
And he hasn't given his location out to us.
right.
That's right.
So not a clue.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm not sure what we can do to check up on them. Um, we could wait here at the apartment complex for them to come back. We could go to their home and see if everything's all right, but there's no guarantee that they would be around. Irvelin, not Evelyn.
We could go take a nap.
There's no He-Man villains or anything like that. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
the wrong kind of campaign for that. So,
Well, we may as well head back to the crime scene and send the swords back. Keep them on guard at the ladder, as
I think
clearly there's
I
something
think we
going
should.
on down here.
No, you're right, and for that, I think we should wait a while longer to make sure that nobody is lingering in the area waiting for us to pop out our heads. Whack-a-mole is not a particularly fun game when you're the mole.
I agree.
Was there anything that you discovered before you ran into these people?
Found a couple of trails of people coming into the crime scene, but weren't able to follow anything up far enough to learn anything.
They interrupted before we can get a chance.
Do you know which direction that they went in?
Vaguely north and vaguely south.
Vaguely north and vaguely south. What I might be able to do is I know a few people down in this area. I might be able to talk to them and maybe see if they can put they can, with the help of a little gold, jog their memory a little bit and see if they remember anybody that might have come this way that seemed out of place.
Well, given that I have no idea who you are, I'll defer to
Sorry,
to
yes.
Jen on this.
It would be greatly appreciated, Pearl, if you would reach out to your friends.
I can do that. Would you like to accompany me, or are you going to head back?
That's up, Luke, and it's up to you. I personally would like to meet some of your friends. I'm always willing to meet new people.
Wait. You're Lucan? You're the one that sent us halfway across the continent? And you're here now?
Yes, sorry about that if you were involved in that. I'm all better now.
He's been cured.
I got better.
Partially, temporarily, possibly, maybe. But we've got him under good eyes. Mine, in this case. Who apparently can't see people watching us.
Well, I can't say that I'm terribly happy about it, but if Irvelin trusts you enough to have you out, then I suppose I can let it be.
Let's just say trust has little to do with it. There are
Yes.
safeguards in place.
In that respect, I am entirely in agreement. In any case, I think we can probably be on our way if we're careful.
All right.
All right, so would you like to inquire about the northward or the southward first?
Let's do the opposite of where we were ambushed.
No, you were ambushed
that
both
was
north
both.
and south.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that doesn't help any then, does it?
not really.
Not really.
Let's go west.
Right, west is toward the docks.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Where were we headed whenever they... I mean, where's the smoke screen towards?
The smoke screen is towards the south.
So I suggest we head north.
All right, give me a couple stealth checks.
Stealth would be... Dex again. Let's try this one more time.
13. That's really low.
You guys are fan-fucking-tastic.
I rolled a 3.
You guys are so very good at being stealthy.
God, you guys are great people.
Yeah. If you weren't singing the Pirates of Penzance the whole way, you'd probably be more stealthy.
But it's fun.
The dangers of the D20 system.
Pretty much.
We are men in tights. Tights. Oh wait, that's not Pirates of Penzance.
No,
Close enough.
it is. I'm not sure how close that really is, but okay.
Yeah, close enough.
I need to think about that. What does a failure here mean?
We're heading away from the smoke screen.
You are heading away from the smoke screen. All right, so you... Yeah, we'll do this the easy way. So you guys are heading north. You're not singing because you're not that crazy, even if it amuses me to think that you are. But you do, in the darkness, trip over some stuff and attract the attention of one of the people who is following you. And before he can yell that you're there, you guys knock him out, but not before taking a few bruises yourself. So, it won't be that much. So you'll each take 5 damage. And then continue on your merry way. Assuming you want to continue on your merry way and don't want to do something else.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So eventually you actually get out of the stores district, and you're now in the Calliston district, which is
Repeat that?
I'm sorry, the Calliston district. If you look on, do I have you guys on the right map?
Yep, you do.
Okay, good. I'm never sure. Yes. Yeah, the left side of Sharn. You guys are in the Calliston district. You've gone north out of the stores and into the Calliston district.
Okay, there it is. Okay, let me zoom in a little closer so I can read that. Maybe Caleston. Okay.
All right, and Pearl leads you to a rather run-down, shoddy-looking inn tavern. It's a shithole. Whether you're there to drink or you're there to sleep, there's far better places. Even here in the lowest the lowest parts of Sharn, there are better places to get. And she heads in. It's pretty busy inside. It's pretty late, but there's still a pretty sizable crowd inside. There is a minstrel on stage, a rather tattered and ill-used minstrel on stage, singing some rather bawdy and unfit for polite company songs and poems and the like. Pearl leads you up to the bar and gestures for you guys to sit down as she does the same, and waves to the man behind the bar. The man comes up and says, "Well, didn't expect to see you back this soon, Pearl. And who are your friends here?"
Hi, I'm Demabeth. Nice to meet you.
My name's Frank.
Frank and Gemabeth, huh? So, what, Pearl? What brings you down here? I thought we'd had a bit of a disagreement. To which Pearl replies, "Well, you know what they say: gold heals all wounds." And she picks up a pouch off her belt and sets it on the table. Says, "They have a bit of a task for you if you're looking to earn a bit of extra pay." And he looks over at you two and says, "Well, all right, let bygones be bygones. My name is Sam. They called me Nine Finger Sam for, well, obvious reasons. So what is it that I'll be doing for you?"
There was an attack on an apartment complex, and we're looking for any leads on who was behind it.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Word travels fast down here. It's rats off a sinking ship. Everybody needs to know if they need to bail or not. So, an attack, huh? And you needed to have some leads. All right, I might be able to help you there, but I might need you to narrow things down a little bit for me. Who are you looking for? What are you looking for? I need something.
There were some people hanging around afterwards, after the attack, scoping out the site, other than the official, of course. We're interested in who those people might be associated with.
Huh.
And we described the guy to him.
It sounds like a familiar face. I can't say is that he comes in here that often, but that's a man with connections. I can tell you that much. He's got connections all over the lower wards, and I'm pretty sure he's got connections higher up as well. I don't know why he's taken an interest in you, but that doesn't bode terribly well. I'll tell you that right off the top of my head. Let's see.
In addition, for something to keep an eye out for, the people behind these attacks are going to be the sort who could get their hand on significant artifice, if that helps.
Well, I've heard Kenneth's doing something down in the lower wards.
Cannon's always doing something, though.
No, but this is a bit odd even for Kenneth. They've been doing all this through intermediaries. They've taken a one-step removed approach. Normally, Kenneth doesn't care if you know that they're doing something, so long as you don't know what the hell they're doing. This has been different. They've taken a different tack on this. I'm not sure if it's related to what you're talking about, but I can't help but think that, Artifice and House Kenneth are related. It might not be in this case, but
Could be worth checking out.
could be. I haven't heard much about what they're doing. Hell, the rumors, well, they're just that. They're rumors. A lot of people would pay good money to know what Kenneth is doing and where they're doing it at, but nobody's been able to confirm anything, which it makes for a very interesting working environment down here, I'll tell you that.
Does this man who confronted us have any ties to the Canneth operation that you can call out?
I don't know that he's got ties to Kenneth directly. I know he's got house ties, though. I've seen him talking to somebody who I know has a dragon mark, but I'll be damned if I can tell you what mark it was. It was hard to look at. It just, I mean, you've seen dragon marks. They're like a tattoo. This one was, it seemed to almost move while I was looking at it. It made me nauseous to even look at it for too long. And I didn't even get that great a look at it in the first place. So, but
Well,
he definitely has ties with with some house, or at least somebody who's dragon marked.
that sure doesn't sound like most of them. All right.
No, I can tell you that Canis been busy down here recently in the lower wards, but I don't know if it has anything to do with what you're looking into. As for the rest of your leads, that man, I might be able to dig you up something on that,
Greatly appreciated.
but it might take a little bit because gold or not, I'm not sticking my head out on this one for you.
Nor would we
For
expect
just
you to.
so it's gonna take a little bit to do this through the side channels, the back doors, so on and so forth. In the meantime, I would appreciate you not attracting attention here, because the last thing I need to do is have this place burnt down again. Pearl. Pearl just shrugs. So if you'll kindly clear the hell out, I will send a message to Pearl and she can relate it on to you. Can't make any guarantees about how long it'll take, but it's a busy night. I might be able to make some inquiries.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks for the gold.
Leave.
Pearl leads you out and says, "Yeah, don't mind him too much. He's always a bit grumpy."
Well, I'd be a little bit grumpy if someone caused my bar to be burned down.
It was an accident. I didn't do it on. Well, I didn't mean to burn down the whole thing on purpose.
Pearl, every time I talk to you, your life sounds more and more interesting.
This wasn't as interesting as you might think. Besides, they could still prosecute me for it, so I would really appreciate not talking about it just right now.
Not
Maybe
right
later.
now.
Maybe later. Maybe later.
Maybe we'll talk over. We'll see.
Lucan rolls his eyes.
So, I guess that might be all we can do from here. Is there anything else that you guys were needing to do while you're in the lower wards?
We were just trying to follow trails.
Sam may be an asshole, but he's a reliable asshole. So I think in the next day or so, we'll hear something back from him. Are there any other leads that you might need to be doing, following up on?
No, just getting stuff from the crime scene to our resident arcanists.
All right. Well, in that case, let's get back over to the crime scene, and then we can go from there.
Yep.
I think Irvelin is establishing a perimeter, so it'll probably be safer, with less likely of being tailed from there now. All right.
Okie dokie.
All right. Let's bounce back over to the other crew for a little while.
Hello.
Edwin.
No, I'm sorry, I was double muted.
Yeah. Somehow I'm not surprised. All right. So you guys were going up to Sharn University of Sharn, to find a workshop for Winsome. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Workshop and libraries, all of the above.
Yeah,
Yes.
all the research materials that you wanted to find about the mind bomb, find more about it.
Yeah. Bearing in mind that he's probably not supposed to be there, and neither is Wraith for that matter, in some of these places.
I'll use my considerable pull with the university. We'll sneak him in.
Okay, yeah. Give me stealth checks for both of you.
Alright, I'm trying to use this thing here. So, infiltrator, background, Dex. Does this work?
What would I use for my backgrounds?
Does that work? I don't think that would.
Let's see. Probably archaeology.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at that.
Does it really
And-
matter? That's another freaking natural 3 on a stealth check tonight.
Oh, this is a
Yeah,
bug.
really
It's a
good.
bug. I don't want to click mine now.
Oh.
Click it. Click it, you wuss.
Oh Lord.
That's better.
You seriously?
That's a 10, which is the highest roll so far tonight.
It really is. I'm impressed with how bad you guys are rolling.
3, 3, 7, and 10.
I wasn't the worst, so that is a bonus for me.
It's doubly ironic considering the Facebook post earlier.
Yeah.
I really think so. All right, so you guys are kind of sneaking through the campus, and you're confronted by one of your professors, Cord. What is this professor's name, and what do they teach?
This professor's name is Lillian Stranghorn, and she is a professor of agriculture and botany, mostly on the agriculture. It's one of those things that we have to look into as student courses for, especially with artificers, in order to figure out how to work crops, create items for those crops and such like that.
Okay. So you're heading across the campus, and you run into Professor Stranghorn, who is not really deflected by your clumsy attempts at stealth. It's not so much that she notices Cord, but she notices Wraith acting really suspicious, and as she comes over to check on Wraith, she notices that he's there with Cord, as well as what appears to be a homeless person. And she comes up and draws herself up into her full height, which is not a lot. It's only 5'3". And she looks. She still managed to look down her nose at you and says, "Mr. Faldrin, who are your friends?"
Madam Stranghorn, I give a slight bow and I just, out of procedure. These are my two. They are my. I kind of look at Wraith.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I am actually planning on joining this school in the upcoming semester, and Lord Cord here was showing me around.
Showing you around.
Yes, and this older man is actually his father.
11. Give me a charisma check on that one.
Hey, I got charisma. Can I use diplomat for
Diplomat.
that?
Also, what's the check to see if Wraith is in a shape that even looks remotely like the other guy?
I actually have a ceramic mask on.
No!
Black, and I have a really deep,
Nat 20. Wow.
really deep cowl. So
All right,
it's kind of
explain-
I need a crit 20. I get it.
Explain how this works. I need to know how this Nat 20 happened with your enormous pile of bullshit.
So
It starts way back when he gave a gift basket at the opening ceremonies.
actually, yes. The thing is Lillian has always been very impressed with my my work towards agriculture and artifice, and to be perfectly honest, she's always been a little sweet on me. And to that end, she really doesn't believe this story, but she can also sense that I mean no harm because I've done silly things in the past and nothing has come from it. So she's just willing to kind of give me an eye, definitely frown, and just say, don't break anything or steal anything.
Yeah, I think that's fitting. And says, just next time be better at this sneaking around thing. I think that your mentor would be a bit disappointed in you. Not so much for being caught around campus after dark, but for being caught doing it.
I nod and I smile, and I just let's just we'll move on, and I'll see you later in class.
Yes, I
Moving
expect to
string
see
horn.
you in my office soon.
I will definitely be there at the earliest convenience.
Very well. Carry on your way, Mr. Falderin.
And we continue on our way.
Oh, that's kind of amazing.
It reminds me of I posted it on Facebook the other day. It's Boromir from Lord of the Rings, the Sean Bean.
Oh
It
yeah,
says,
yeah.
one does not simply a natural 20. Okay, you do simply.
Flimsiest story ever. Love it.
It was a steaming pile, and she knew it, but it worked anyway.
She's willing to overlook it.
All right. So you guys drop into one of the libraries. You can't really get into the main library right now. That would take a bit more of an effort, but there are a number of scattered sub-libraries around campus that have a particular focus, and you hop into the one that's most oriented towards artifice. There's nobody around. The door is locked, however.
Oh, that's fine. I think. Let me take a look. I have knock as a cantrip.
Okay.
So, and basically the knock with this is literally doing a quick, grabbing some artifice metal, kind of forming it together into actually like its own hand knocker over my hand, and just popping on it a couple times to open up the lock.
Eddie read my mind on that one.
2 bits.
We're all terrible.
All right, and then you're in. There's no lights, nobody around, but there are a number of lanterns that are they're ever bright lanterns, which means that they don't have an actual flame inside. Bringing any kind of fire into one of the libraries will get you expelled, and probably worse, from Sharn University, or any other university for that matter. But there are lanterns. Winsome picks up one of the lanterns and says, well, I'm not sure what I'm looking for here, but all right. I can't remember. Did you guys take the thing apart when you were down there?
Take the thing apart.
Yeah, did you take one of the orbs apart, or did you just hand it to him to look at?
We handed it to him, and he reviewed it and likened it to a piece of work that he himself developed a number of years ago, and then he enlightened us as to what his work did and what he thought this one did.
Okay.
And then asked if there was more. Because I assume I think so. Is that right?
Yeah.
He asked if there was more of it because I'm assuming because he expected that this wasn't the only piece. He didn't clarify that, but
and he wanted to see a working version.
yes.
Yeah. That is correct. So, all right. So he sits down at one of these tables and says, "Cord was it? Do you have a toolkit with you?"
I always do. Yeah, I just pop open my arm. Bloop, here you go. No, but yeah, I do actually have a toolkit which I let him borrow.
I'll go gadget screwdriver.
So I'm gonna
Actually, it's one of my cantrips too.
I'm sure it is.
So he takes some of the tools and starts disassembling this thing, and it's almost like a Matryoshka doll, in that there are multiple embedded layers, one on top of another. And he gets to the center where it's about the size of a golf ball, and in that it's like a lattice of metal that's surrounding a small piece of dragon shard, and
Kyber shard, right?
yeah, Kyber shard. I wanted to say Eberron shard, and I was like, that's not right though. Yes, it's a Kyber shard. And he starts examining this. If you guys want to look at it yourselves, you can make skill checks.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts poking around at it. He takes the center core out and opens it so that he can look at the shard. And he looks at it and says, "Cord, look at this. Tell me if there's anything you see strange about it."
Intelligence and workshop tech.
Yes, that'll work.
So I do take a look at it.
This thing is, it's burned out, for lack of a better term for it. This, you haven't seen it very often. It's usually when only a great deal of magical energy is expended through a shard, but then afterwards it won't have the same sort of function as it was before. It can't channel the arcane energy like it was before.
Okay.
And you've seen this a couple of times. There's been examples in class where they've showed you this and said, all right, this, you want to distribute the load across multiple shards if you have something like that, otherwise this happens, blah, blah, blah. You've never seen anything like that in something this small, though. Usually anything that's powerful enough to burn out a dragon shard is considerably larger.
So at this point, it would almost be safe to assume that it's a conduit or running through, maybe that they're linked. Would I come to that sort of
That's one
conclusion?
possible conclusion that you could come to, yes.
Okay.
That's not an unreasonable conclusion to come to.
So I let Winsome know, all of this, my thoughts on this, and see what he feels about it.
No, you're right. I've never seen some dragon shard get burned out in something this small. You're probably right that it's being used as a conduit, but the question is what a conduit for what? What could have that kind of power that it would do something like this? Granted, this is a relatively small shard, and it's about the size of the end of your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not very large. It's still a rather expensive dragon shard. These do not come cheap, even when they're that small. But it's unusual, to say the least. And he says, a conduit. I want you to, if you wouldn't mind, Cord, to go and see if you can find any books that reference using dragon shards like this as a conduit. Maybe we can find some idea of how this was altered, because in my original plan, this was it didn't transfer enough energy to have this kind of effect. Not anywhere near this enough energy. It would have been able to be used a dozen times or more before the crystal would need to be replaced.
Definitely, I'll start. Hit the Dewey Decimal System at this point.
And Wraith, I'm not sure. Who your six is Brayland?
Yeah.
How would you use that?
I don't know. My familiarity with the Brayland, or with Brayland's various systems of record keeping and what's the word I'm looking for?
The Brother's
red tape,
Decimal System.
the red tape. Sure, yes, just familiarity with Brayland's record-keeping systems and so forth. I don't know. I was honestly just playing it's just a random luck thing. Like, I just picked up a book because I thought it looked interesting, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is something like what you guys were talking about. But
I think that's a bit of a stretch,
okay,
unfortunately.
I've had a Breadless library card for years. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of a way that you could use.
That's fine. I just thought I'd ask because I don't see much opportunity to use the 6. So I just thought maybe you just pull like a super lucky, just weird the thing.
Hmm.
In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll just I assume this is being a sub library. It's not huge. It's only got a few entryways.
Yeah, it's not terribly large. It's got one main room and then 2 rooms off to the side.
Okay, but only one
And
way in.
there's 2 ways in. There's a
Two
front door and
ways.
there's a back door.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to the back door and I'm gonna set a really rudimentary trip alarm. Just using a stack of books and a length of cord, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna make it so that way it's just a really tall, precarious stack of books. That way, if somebody were to open the door, they'd pull the cord and set the books a tumbling.
Well, if it's pulling on cord, then cord's gonna know. So.
Exactly, a conduit.
Wait, is this all about me? I think it's all about me.
Everything's
all
always. It's always.
Everything's always
you.
about Cord. Come on, you know this.
You are the chosen one.
The only one that can roll 20 so far.
So far.
It's true.
Not
Only
even
one that's
20, but anything above 10.
So I'll make a rudimentary trip alarm, and I'll just kind of stalk silently around, just kind of keeping myself busy, but making sure that these guys can focus on what they need to focus on.
Okay.
I'll throw some sign at Cord, just telling him that just focus on this. I've got the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We will pause you there, and we will go back to Lucan and Gemabeth for a little bit.
Okie dokie.
So are you guys heading back to the scene of the crime?
Yeah, to make sure that all the evidence that we had gathered is gotten to the right places so that Cord can examine it, I think, for one.
Okay.
Yep.
So you guys collect your 2 swords, head back up the ladder. Valen is still there. She's still directing people, and she looks up when you come in, and sees that you're somewhat disheveled and a bit less. I can't think of the right word, but you're not quite as composed as you were when you left. And she raises an eyebrow and says,
We're coated in smoke.
Yeah, she says, "Run into trouble."
Pearls threw a smoke bomb at us.
I imagine that she only did that because the alternative was worse.
Well, there were some guys. I'm pretty sure we could have taken them.
In any case, did you find anything out down there?
We have some leads, thanks to one of Pearl's contacts. He's going to get back to us with what he can tell us. We know there's a panic project going on somewhere in the deeps that is trying to be a little more under the radar than normal. So that might be worth checking into for these strange bits of artifice we're finding.
No, you have a good point. I hadn't put those 2 and 2 together. We've heard about the Kenneth project, but we haven't been able to get one of our people close enough to find out what it is. It might be that'll be something that you're doing, but I don't like it when the houses get involved.
No, that's why we came back here.
We identified a Madani agent keeping an eye on this place, running as surveillance. I'm not sure if they heard something about what happened and then sent somebody over, or if they had something to do with it in the first place. And I hate that kind of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Your associate Juan D, he has contacts with House Modani, is that correct?
I believe so.
Alright, I want you to find him and have him use those contacts to find out how much Modani knows. Even if it's only to make sure that they have nothing to do with this, I want to eliminate them as a variable. Do you understand?
Alright.
Yep.
That'll give you something to do while you're waiting for this contact of yours to get you some sort of information. But it is getting late, and I know that not everybody functions well on a lack of sleep. Lucan aside, your special condition keeps you, I'm sure, in a well-rested state during the night. But
Better than I used to be.
I'm going to be closing down the crime scene here, keeping it guarded till morning, and resuming the investigation. Then you may wish to get some rest yourself. But if you wish to keep investigating, I won't say no.
I think that we can, at the very least, go find out where John D's hiding and spread the
We'll
word.
track down Juan D and get him into, well, the plot.
I'm not sure where he said he was going. He was going to ask about the blood of Vol. I admit that I have no idea what the blood of Vol might have to do with this, but he seemed interested in pursuing that angle, and I'm not one to necessarily dismiss an agent's intuition, even if I feel that in this case they are probably barking up the wrong tree.
Well, regardless, if we don't know where he went from there, we'll go to where we know he'll return to and find him when he does.
Don't worry, I have ways of finding him.
There you go.
Very well.
Are you just going to wander the city and think at him?
Sometimes it works.
I'm sure.
Him being an empath and all.
Yeah.
But no, I know where he works, and it's not uncommon to
That's
find him
good.
close to there.
That sounds much better than thinking at him until he comes to us.
At the very least, we can leave a message for him there.
Yeah. Excellent.
Alright. I will be in... I can't say that I will be in constant contact, but pressure is coming down rather intensely on all of the Citadel to figure this out. So I will be looking for reports from you fairly frequently, at least once a day, if only to make sure that you haven't run into something that you can't hold on to.
By the way, much appreciated sending Pearl.
Yeah, I had a suspicion. Once I saw that the Madani agent was around, I had a suspicion that the lower wards somebody might be waiting for something exactly like this to happen. But in any case, I'm going to close down the scene here. I will be up and around this morning. If something desperately needs my attention, you know how to reach me.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, then be on your way.
All right.
Shall we go and stop by D's shop? How late is it?
At this point, it's like 11-ish.
Okay, shall we go and stop by D's shop?
I'll trust you to know where you're going here.
Okay,
So I'm following you at this point.
that's good, because I do know where... Gemma knows where D's shop is,
Yes.
but I don't.
I'm not sure we ever decided where his shop was. I think we
It's in the shopping district.
put it in. Did we put it in Trade Fair in the Middle Wards?
Do you want me to see if he's still awake?
No, that's okay. No. We don't need to wake him up for that.
Okay.
You put it in miscellaneous convenient place.
Poof, there it is.
It wouldn't be in the upper wards. It would definitely be in the middle wards, but it would have been a nice.
Hey, did you guys know that Coleco was re-releasing the Coleco Chameleon?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, wow. Okay, then, never mind.
I know, seriously, I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Coleco?
No, I know what Coleco is.
Oh,
I don't know what the Coleco. You said Coleco. It sounded like you said Coleco Chameleon. Or
Calico.
no, I've heard of Coleco Vision, but not the Chameleon.
It's a new gaming system from them.
Oh yeah, we'll
Chameleon?
No, Boy George.
It's a retro. Basically, it's a retro.
Okay.
They're re-releasing on retro.
We'll put it in Trade Fair. I think that's probably the
Trade
best
Fair?
place to go,
Okay.
honestly. Which is in the center of the middle wards, more or less.
Trade Fair to his shop, which I believe is closed at this hour.
Which is close to what?
Closed at this hour.
Well, yeah, most of the shops are closed. Not all of them, though. The Sharn is cosmopolitan enough that there's enough demand for some shops to be open late at night.
I know, and this might be something I need to talk to Lloyd about. I know that he and I have worked together, and that we've been on. And this is for you. Have we been on the same team for a while?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So it stands to reason that I would have a way to leave him a message at his shop, even though it's not open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, you probably might even have a key to his shop, or at least know where
A key is hidden.
Yeah, a key is hidden. I don't think that's unreasonable in this particular case.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell him this when he wakes up. We get to his shop, and with your permission, I change it into a squirrel and scamper up to one of the awnings where he keeps a key for me in case of emergency.
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay. And then I let the guy or squirrel know. Yes, it's got to be a squirrel. And then so I let Lucan into the shop.
He doesn't have to be invited in. Thank
He
you.
does not.
Vampire humor.
That is actually a good question. Is that part of the? Do I need to
No,
invite him in?
He does not.
A lot of the restrictions are gone, but also most of the strengths.
Okay.
Yeah, and frankly, it's mostly a psychosomatic thing anyway, except in the case of religious areas.
Slight pasty sunburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, the rituals are holding the vampiric blood down to basically put me to what would be a half vampire.
I would suggest, Lucan, I believe that vampires tend to set off animals. You might want to stay towards the front of the store.
That I guess he has pets.
Yeah, the animals indeed you can already start to hear are a bit agitated, and you're not sure whether it's because, well, there's a vampire or because, well, there's somebody coming in late at night.
I go back and reassure the animals and pet my favorite kitty cat. Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. I turn back into a human, into a gnome, and then go back in the back.
Squirrel.
I'm not that evil a GM.
And calm the animals and give them a little treat, and pet my favorite kitty cats.
They're still a bit on the anxious side, and you can tell that that in some way they can tell that Lucan is there, because they're continually looking towards or sniffing towards the front of the store.
When in animal form, can I communicate with animals?
Yeah, but you can, but it's not like they're a very articulate.
Most don't have much to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, they're not.
You can get a general idea, though. Yeah.
Squirrel.
I change into a cat and I talk to one of my favorites, picking up the local gossip of the store.
From what you can understand, it doesn't sound like anything is terribly different today. The the master, so to speak, came home about an hour ago and went to sleep, and that's been about all that's happened recently.
The master he sleeps in the store?
He sleeps above the store.
He sleeps above the store.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
come
why
out.
own two buildings if you can only own one?
Oh, that's good. That's a good point. Shares that the master came home an hour ago, and I sneak upstairs to wake him up and pounce on him, which is hard to do when he's not here.
It is true.
So do you want to skip the fun or go ahead and do it and just let him know about it later?
Go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Go ahead and do what you're going to do, and you can tell him all about it later.
So in my cat form, I sneak up the stairs and mysteriously open the lock because, I know how to do these things in cat form now, and sneak to his bed and pounce on his chest in the middle of the night, wake him up.
Oh, he's very awake. Very awake.
He is presumably familiar with my cat form.
Yes, which is why he doesn't nuke your brain immediately. He is not terribly happy that you have done it, but he is also not terribly surprised that you have done this.
Why would he be?
I materialize back to normal form and let him know that Lucan is downstairs. And we have work for him.
All right. We'll go ahead and stop there with you. And we'll come back to that next session. So if you need to head off, Brandy, by all means.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I did warn Lucan about the animals before I left. Apparently he wasn't aware of the animals, so hopefully that's not too much of a retcon. I don't want him.
No, you warned. You warned him, so it's fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him to get afoul of some of the more naughty animals.
Oh, we're
Just
good.
a little.
All right, thank you guys.
Later.
Feel better.
I thank you. I'm gonna try, and I will update Lloyd on what's going on his end.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're probably not going to go super late tonight. Partly because I'm tired, and partly because not everybody's here. So, but we will go back over to Cord and Wraith.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the stage of history. I don't know why I'm quoting Soul Calibur, but it just popped into my head.
That's like I was trying to remember what that was from. I'm like, oh.
Played so much Soul Calibur too that it apparently ingrained itself in my brain.
Yeah.
So you guys have been working at this for a while, probably a couple of hours. You've been picking up books at his. Wraith's been picking up books at Winsome's direction. Cord, you've been picking up books that you feel might be relevant, and unfortunately, none of them have been all that relevant to what he's doing. There's some that are in the same neighborhood, but not quite enough. They're not related enough to help him pin down what in the world is going on with this device. But after a couple of hours, he stops for a minute and says, "Cord, come over here."
I head over there immediately.
And he shows you the inside of what, like the half, the half sphere of one of the cores, and he says, "And this looks like a planar arrangement. Are you seeing that, or is this just me?"
Planar arrangement. Well, I definitely do take a closer look at it. Would I know what a planar arrangement would be?
You'd have a general familiarity with it as an arcanist, as an artificer. You would have a general idea of what the makeup of the planes would be. You may not have detailed information, but you would have a general idea. It would be one of your undergraduate level courses, so to speak.
Okay.
The planes and how they work and all that. So yeah, you do recognize. It looks like a planar arrangement. It looks like the known planes, but something seems off about it. Give me an intelligence check. Plus,
And
archaeology is probably the closest you have to this.
all right, look at that. Back to the great rolls.
Wow, that was a fantastic fucking
It was
roll,
a
too.
2, wasn't a 1.
Oh boy.
Great job. All right.
Well,
So no,
the lowest
you-
of the night.
You do recognize that it is a planar arrangement, but you don't notice anything odd about it. And when he notices you looking at it kind of quizzically, he says, "It's here. I've never seen the planar arrangement done exactly like this. This is not how the planes are." At least to the best of our knowledge, this is not how the planes are arranged. This is, and he points out to a small dot that represents one of the planes, and he says, "This is Dull Core.
Dull core.
It's the plane of sleep, the region of dreams." It hasn't been... Modern scholars don't know why, but something happened that sent this plane away from Eberron. It hasn't been near the material plane for thousands of years, as best as we can tell. We think that the giant civilization did something and sent it away, but records are fragmented. But as far as planar explorers have been able to tell, Dull Core has never been in this position for thousands of years.
This would make sense as to the nature of how the people were attacking, because anyone who was asleep was afflicted by this device.
So you said.
So, I mean, that is obviously a telling sign at this point. This is how they're doing that, is by tapping into this plane at this point.
Which would explain why the shard was so burned out. To contact a plane that far away from Eberron would take a tremendous amount of energy. I still don't entirely understand how they managed to get that much energy into the device this small, even with burning it out, but now it's starting to make a twisted kind of sense. My device would have strengthened the bonds between a creature and their home plane. Or conversely, it would have strengthened the bonds between a creature and this plane, keeping them from being banished as easily. It seems that they've taken my idea, and gone even further with it.
Do you feel that it's more like extracting the power from that plane as opposed to being a conduit? I mean,
No, I think you were right the first time. I think this is some sort of conduit. Something is coming from Dull Core.
Something.
And are we talking about an extraplanar being, or are we talking about?
It could. That's one of the million gold piece questions right now. We don't know whether this was a summoning, or if this was a material component for some sort of ritual spell. Because
Well, just real quick, I'm sorry for the interruption. This is a weird train of thought, but if we're talking about anything extraplanar and the possibility of channeling extraplanar beings or in the form of a summoning through this device, maybe giving these guys temporary hosts. I'm just kind of rattling off in my own head, right?
Mm.
I look and see if I'm as familiar with the book structure and stuff. I just don't know specific names of books. I look for something that references the plane we're talking about, Dalcor,
Mhm.
particularly in terms of myths, legends, inhabitants, something along the line. See if I can find a book or two that kind of fills that. While they're having a chat, I want to kind of glean through those and see if there's anything that's popping out about myths, legends, like I said, inhabitants. Is gleeful, murderous, that would leap at the chance to be able to hop into a host and murder and just kind of stuff like that, because this doesn't. I don't know. I'll just kind of do something like that while they're talking.
Okay. Give me a background check to see if you can find something like that.
I assume we want to use intelligence, and I really don't have a background that fits, so it's either diplomat or infiltrator.
Diplomat, I think in this case would probably be the most relevant.
All right, and it's intelligence.
Yeah.
All right. I rolled a 13.
That's
I got a
enough.
17 in total.
Yeah, you find that there aren't a lot of books here about that because this is mostly oriented towards artifice. Once you start poking around, though, you realize that there are probably other, in one of the other sub-libraries or even perhaps in the main library, you might be better able to find something along those lines.
If I'm not finding anything here, I'll wait until they're done talking and I'll kind of express that line of thought, but I wouldn't want to split us further, so I'll stay around.
Okay. In the meantime, back to the Cord Winsome conversation. But you're right, Cord. This is a conduit. Something is coming from Dalcor, which is frankly astonishing. The only way that anybody has been able to reach Dalcor for thousands of years has been through dreaming, and even that's barely touching the plane. If somebody found a way to make that connection stronger, as it seems that they have here, who knows what could be happening? You say that everybody who was asleep rose up and acted like madmen, killing one another. Is that correct?
Yes, that was what we were told, that people who were awake were not affected by the madness. It was just people who were asleep. But of course, people who were asleep were just attacking everyone.
No. Unfortunately, we're making a disturbing amount of sense with this line of reasoning. Something came from Dalcor and infected those people. What I can say is that I suspect the connection didn't last very long. I think that to have a stronger connection, they would have to have a bigger device.
So this could have actually gone much worse had not the shard burnt out.
I suspect that the burning out may have been a deliberate design decision, because I suspect because this thing is about the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been considerably more difficult for them to make something about the size of a pumpkin and have a greater effect.
This is just a test. This is a test in a small area that they're hoping just to see how it's going to work.
But then, what's the ultimate goal? Is this a weapon? Is this a terror weapon, or is this?
It definitely seems like it could be.
I can see other groups, other nations using this. Imagine something the size of a wagon that does this rolled right into the middle of your enemy's army at night, they would slaughter themselves.
This would be an amazing device in the hands of Breland, but at the same point, this does not seem to be people who are just going to give it to country and man. This is going to be something they're selling to the highest bidder sort of thing, especially if Cannon's involved, those shitheads.
But even then, look how much we're gleaning from something the size of a hand fruit. If we were to use, if Breland were to use something like this, there's nothing to say that this won't be reverse engineered or turned right back on us.
Yeah, we need to find out exactly who's doing this. And just, I would rather not see this happen at all. If somehow we could
No, there's
lock
some
away this technology. Gosh.
There are some things which are too dangerous to unleash upon this world. I mean, look at the Mournland. I don't know what Kenneth might have been working on there, but I would wager everything I've ever learned, every gold piece I've ever earned, that they were delving into something maybe not exactly like this, but on a similar scale. And it destroyed an entire country.
Yeah, this thing just has the makings of doing so much more, especially if you can just pop these anywhere. I mean, how many of these did out of character? How many of these did we find in the in that tower? Were they just on every floor?
You
the
found,
only one we found.
no. You guys found one. Lucan and Jemabeth found, I believe, 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're still under the thoughts that just one of these could still have a massive effect on an entire building, and this is such a small shard. So
Right
yeah,
now, you don't have all the information. Your characters don't have quite all the information.
And
So
this
you did know that we were looking for others,
Yes.
with the expectation of finding something.
This is then kind of an utmost importance thing because we need to figure out.
I mean, imagine them setting this off in the upper city, or God forbid, in the Skyway. The heads of industry, the heads of houses, the heads of the noble families. Imagine the damage that can be done to Breland if they set off one of these things up there. I don't know who's doing this, but I smell House Cannith. On the other hand,
absolutely,
I'm not sure that Cannith is working alone. This reeks of somebody else. This reeks of another house, another organization. Cannith, for all of their other qualities, Cannith is rarely subtle. I can't imagine them doing a field test like this. Not in exactly this manner. They would certainly do one, but I can't see them doing this. Not setting it up like it's some sort of accident or disaster. I think they would find someplace out west in Jerome and find a village and just do it.
Who's to say they haven't at this point, though? Maybe they're looking for a concentrated thing. I understand that. Is there any tactical reason to do it in that tower?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
your line of thought that this was a field test was, or a warning.
On the other hand, why not both? If they needed to do a field test, why not do it in some place that might catch somebody that they wanted eliminated? That might be your next best look, is to find out everybody who is in that apartment, find out who's still there, who lived, and who was gone. That might tell you more than anything I can tell you at this point.
All right, it's in that at that point. Yeah, I just look at Wraith, and I think we've got our information.
I think you're right. Did you want to investigate that lead any further on Dalcor, Wraith? I'm not sure if we can get into the library
No,
tonight.
I don't want to get into it tonight, but yeah, I think maybe I'll share my thoughts with them and see if they would feel that it's beneficial. But honestly, I think the line of thought that we've come to at this particular point has far more tangible benefits, and I can even express that as well.
Okay.
That I had this thought, it might not be bad to check up on, but what you guys are talking about, ultimately what we all came up with was, I feel like, a far more tangible lead than boogeymen. You know what I mean? Yeah, we may be
Yeah.
figuring out what's going on, what's coming from Dalcor, but that really doesn't solve the problem. So,
So you bring this up to Winston and says, and he says, "No, you're right. This is the more important lead of the two, but I don't think you're entirely off base either. If we have an idea of what is coming through, we might have a better chance of being able to neutralize it. It's he looks at Wraith and says, of all the things that could have happened, you found perhaps the one that could get me to abandon the lifestyle that I was forced to lead. No, I need to clean up and I need to make myself presentable because I need to be able to do more research. I appreciate you getting me in here, Cord, but I think I think more needs to be done, and I think Wraith, your thought has to be part of it. I think we need to understand more about what this is doing, what's it summoning, and what could be next.
okay,
Because
sounds like a plan.
these something this size might just summon a nightmare that drives people mad. Who knows what could happen if they build a bigger one? Who knows? I mean, it might not drive everybody nearby mad. It might summon something
You might
even
pull something
worse.
through.
Exactly. We don't know what their end game is, but we we need to find out as much as we possibly can and as soon as we possibly can.
I offer him if he wants to, if he needs any money for a stay at an inn or anything like that, I will pay his fare on that. Else, offer him a room at the apartment as well. It's small,
Yeah,
but
I think we all need to stay together. I don't think we need to be separate. So,
yeah,
because
And
in
Winston
case we need
agrees.
to sort, we're
He says
followed.
that there's enough people who might be on the lookout for me. I'm officially dead, but enough people believe otherwise that they might be on the lookout for me, and that's not even including the people who might be involved in this sphere.
So we'll all go back to your place, Cord.
hmm
But at that same time, we'll be able to pool resources to get him all the access he needs. Even if we have to pull in her and just,
hmm
I'll leave it at that. You know who her is.
hmm
Um, and if we just have to ask her for access, and that's that. We'll get it either way, but we'll get you access to the best that Sharn has to offer.
yeah, absolutely.
It's imperative that I keep my head down as much as possible, but I have a couple of identities that I can use that will be of use in getting this access. It wouldn't do me any good to pop my head out under my real name and get killed before I can do anything after all. But no, we should stay together. We should get some rest because I suspect that we're going to be very busy the next few days.
I do
All
agree.
right.
And we will go ahead and stop session there.
Uh, Good night, everybody.
We have a lot more progress when we're not having to roll dice, but hey.
It was good times.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, you guys have not gone, except for the fight last session. You guys have not rolled a lot of dice for a while now.
hmm
It's been a lot of straight up role playing and talking and investigating. So it's not a super surprise, but But yeah, we'll go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the broadcast now.
Good
So
night.
everybody,
Good night,
everybody
babes.
bye, people.